Anyway, this is our Naples Mug annual meeting. The agenda is in front of you on the screen. I'm going to start out with a few comments. Marty will talk about the results of our vote. The treasurer's report, Don Peacock. I will talk about some other club information. Eckert will talk about our classes. Jeff will talk about social media. And Marilyn will talk about the member advocate. Then we'll wake up and dismiss ourselves. No, it should be a very interesting meeting. Before we get going here, I'd like if the board of directors could come forward, please. Everybody on the board. Mr. King, we'd like you to step forward. What's that?
I'm not a member of this estate club.
You're a formal president, and Jerry's been president for 14 years, correct?
I think so, at least that seems.
Well, he thinks 14 years.
It seems that much.
Marty will go back and check it out.
Sorry.
14.
He says 14.
14 is close enough. And the board has, and a few of the members have gotten you a gift to the Apple Store.
Oh, I have to go there?
Yeah.
You can buy it online.
I was going to head to the PC shop.
By the way,
I got a whole one I'll give you.
besides having a full room at the annual meeting, Jerry has spent, like I said, 14 years, and the Naples Mac Friends user group has probably one of the largest memberships of any user group in the country. We are positively the most active. We have meetings weekly, except in July and August. We have classes for 3 months of the year, plus Monday night meetings. And there is no other user group in the country that's as active as we are. Jerry, thanks for all of your help. Oh, we want a picture.
Yeah.
Mr. Photographer? Oh, are you I didn't bring it. Oh, you want somebody to take it? We want you in the picture. Michael?
Anyway, I was saying, I've had a very successful time in the presidency, but it's because I've got great support staff here, and I've got supportive people in the membership. It doesn't work unless people are involved and people are involved. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody, if there's anybody out there that's taking pictures, make sure you email them to us, please. We got it?
Been there?
Thank you. Thank you all.
I want to thank the entire board for last year's results. And like I covered who all the board members were already in announcing who we're going to lead the different reports here. We also had a great set of classes this year. I think we had one of the best years as far as attendance. And the instructors were Jeff Board, Jim Corsica, Marty Dorio, myself, Marilyn, and Jerry King. The meeting presenters, the weekly meeting presenters, and not only did the class instructors work very, very hard to put those classes on for 3 hours, you know, hours and hours and hours go into the preparation, but also the meeting presenters, which are the same group, plus Mitch Briers, Peter Frank was involved, Dick Shapiro, Don Peacock, well, I mentioned Don before, Dennis DiGiacomo, and we had outside speakers were Bradley Chambers, Joe Kiesel, Gary Rosenberg, Kerry Reno, Raphael Czar, and Bob Levitas. So we had a heck of a year and a lot of speakers. I most prefer, is to get speakers from our internal membership. And I encourage you, if you really, a lot of you, we don't really know well enough as to what your expertise is. And if you have an expertise and if you want to share something with the group, our meetings is a great opportunity. And usually presentations made by our own members have always been excellent. And our membership enjoys them very, very much. Marty, will you cover the election report, please?
George?
Yes.
Eckert does a lot too.
Hmm?
Eckert does a lot.
Did I mention Eckert?
No.
What do you mean I didn't mention Eckert?
I will address the classes.
Oh, you're
No, but I mean for the.
You know, he does do a lot.
Yes.
I'm really sorry. We have a lot of, we gotta be, you know, they'll kill me afterwards. The election report, Marty.
Okay, this year we again used SurveyMonkey for our election. It was very good. I think we get very good response. We can see who responds, how you vote. So I'm keeping track of those of you who voted no. You know, when I was up. I'm just kidding. We had 96.78% said yes to each of the candidates who was nominated. That means there were some abstentions. There were not no votes, but people said they didn't know somebody or whatever, so they couldn't vote. There was one write-in vote, and if he will suggest himself to us, if he's volunteering to help us with something, we'd be more than happy to entertain any help we can get from him or anybody else who wants to volunteer. Next slide, George. So the slate was George, Jeff, and Marilyn Von Siegern, who's coming back to the board. She's been on the board before, came back. And they're a period of services until January of 2021. So it's a 3-year term from now for 3 more years. The next slide, is there anything else I'm supposed to say? So that means the board will be George, Don, myself, Jeff, Bob Kennedy, Eckert, and Marilyn is your new board. Thank you very much for your support.
If you notice, each of our officers, besides being an officer of the board, many of them have dual responsibilities. The vice president, Don, is both vice president and treasurer. And Don wanted me to make sure that everyone knew in this room that doesn't automatically make him the next president if anything shall happen to me. Is that okay, Don?
good, thank you.
Yeah. He will temporarily step into the position. Secretary, Marty Dorio, does many things besides being the secretary of the board. He does the website and tons of other things. Jeff, besides being a director, is responsible for the social media that we're trying to build upon in the group. Director and member recruitment is Bob Kennedy. We need to recruit this year probably 150 members. The reason we need to recruit 150 members is we lose yearly, probably about 70 to 75 members for assorted reasons.
We have to
Health,
pay- we have to
death,
pay
what?
Bob's bonus, right?
What?
We have to pay Bob's bonus.
Right, right. And people move, people get old, they die, they get sick, and a variety, their interests change. And so besides that 75, I would really like us to reach back to where we were a few years ago at 530 members, but we'll be happy with 500. The club is difficult to manage after 500, so if we can get to 500, then we can figure out at that point how to manage for 1,000. And we'll probably have a change of board members at that time. Eckert, besides being the director, is the class registrar, and that is a lot of work. We have 11 classes this year. We had 10 in the past, and recruiting, signing up, getting the classes paid for, the arrangements with Hodges University, and it goes on and on and on and on. There's a lot of planning and execution that must take place for these classes to run appropriately. This year, with Jerry's resignation from the board, now Jerry hopefully will be around for many, many years and will still be an active member, but Marilyn has taken the open board position, and she is going to do, and she'll talk about in a few minutes, she'll be the member advocate. And we're very interested in retaining our membership. It's like any other business out there. It's the best thing in the world is to try to retain the current members, as many as humanly possible. Although most of them I don't think leave because they're unhappy with the club, there's probably some that have. And we want to know what those things are and if there's anything we can do to try to retain people in a better way. I'm sure all of you are seeing your doctors on a regular basis, and stay healthy. Bill Nice was here last week, and he's a doctor, and he reported on Ruth, our 99-year-old member, and mentioned that because she doesn't wear her alert button on her neck like she's supposed to, before they found her on the bathroom floor, it was like 6 hours. Now, Ruth is recovering nicely. She's in rehab at the Arlington. She's in a great frame of mind. She's getting excellent treatments and making great progress. And she should be back in action in just a few weeks. Okay, now we'll hear from, let's see, am I going the right direction? No, I'm going wrong. The treasurer's report, Don.
There's probably not anybody here who has not ever bought something from Amazon. There's probably nobody in the club who has never bought something online. Yet I'm still getting checks for some reason. So if we ever increase the dues, my recommendation to the board will be that people get grandfathered in as long as they pay on PayPal, and we never have to send them a reminder because they didn't pay their dues when they were due. So you can get grandfathered in. But please, if anybody does not know how to use the computer and pay by PayPal, let us know. Some people have trouble on the website. Marty is happy to tell you. Probably not anybody here tonight.
Marilyn, that would be something.
Marty was amazed when I told him I'm still getting the checks. He couldn't believe it. But thanks to him, it's reduced my workload greatly because all of you are paying by PayPal. That's really helped. And the same with Eckhart. he used to have to deal with 50 checks and cash and everything as the registrar, and now occasionally we'll get money. But it's all thanks to Marty setting up PayPal. Anyway, that's extra. George, if you go to the slide. And the other thing, the dues, we lost a lot of people. I guess that extra $5 when we raised the dues, it used to be 20 for one, 25 for two, and people, that extra $5 is just killing people. We lost a lot. You'll see on the membership when George shows it. But my wife never comes to any meetings, occasionally a class, and I always looked at the extra as a donation to the club. And so I encourage those of you who drop from household to individual to maybe rethink, and because we need the money. But this year is the first year in the last 4 years, because we had all that internet work and converting to a lot of our stuff online. We had one failed project. We thought it would be good. Not everybody. Jerry knew it wouldn't be good, but what did we know? So it took us 4 years to get out of the hole. So for the first year, this year, we are back to the same amount of money we had total when I became treasurer in 2010. But
Yeah, Don's bonus depends upon that.
previous years, that's one reason we had to raise the dues. But anyway, so there's the expenses. We spent $10,000 and we took in $16,000. But you can see for classes is a big thing as far as getting money. If we had no classes, okay, we wouldn't have $2,400 expenses, but we'd be hard pressed to have enough money to pay for the library, room reservations, and all of our other stuff. But anyway, so that's it. And then, so we give, because the library is so good to us and Hodges is so good to us, although we do pay. We had 1 year where they didn't charge us anything, but we pay $100 a room, class for the room at Hodges, and they make us buy $500 insurance policy. They insist that we have $1 million insurance policy for liability and medical payments and all this stuff. We don't have to do it for the library. We never had it before, but the last few years at Hodges, we have to buy an insurance policy. So anyway, but we do give every year to the Friends of the Library when we have when we're able to do so. We gave them $2,000, and Hodges we gave $1,000. And we expect to do the same this year. George, the next. So there's the breakdown. It says income. That's for the classes. I can't put labels on these charts, but you can see the class income. It goes from highest to low. So the iOS 10 apps was the biggest moneymaker last year. Marilyn, was that yours?
Yes.
Yeah. So much thanks to Marilyn. And then Sierra is always, and this year the High Sierra will probably be our biggest. People see Jeff Vore and they say, yeah, I want to go, it's worth $15. By the way, Marty points out that if you take the classes elsewhere, they're much more than $15. So it's a real bargain if you can. But I recommend, he just opened up the second class today. If you're interested in going to both of those High Sierra classes, I recommend that you, when you get home, you reserve your seat for the second class. So anyway, protect your files, all these other things. Apple TV, we didn't have that many people. It's difficult for Jim to demonstrate that at Hodges. We're not going to have that this year because it's just too difficult. And the expenses are not just for classes, but no, I'm not finished with that one.
Okay.
So general expenses to the library, the meeting room fees were almost $2,300. But the web services has really come down. Last year they were only $1,100. PayPal now we have to pay a small amount for payment, but it's not much. It's penny, 2.2% plus 35 cents or something like that. It's well worth it to what it saves us. and that's for the whole year, $450. And we always give to the presenters, when George gets somebody, gives a video chat, he sends them, and gifts. The presenters are the live presenters, we give an honorarium, and the thank you gifts are for the video chat people. George sends them M&Ms in a nice package. He always gets nice notes. Whatever it is you send him, people are impressed with their gift.
They all say Nmug on each M&M.
So anyway, other miscellaneous things. So that's where the money goes. But finally, we're back to where we were in 2010. Is there another one, George? What's the last one? Okay, and then here's our budget. I didn't label it correctly. It's predicted or planned or whatever, so you can see pretty much the same as this year. We're going to give the same on the bottom to the Hodges and the library and classes, pretty much the same as this year. I don't see a major thing. We're estimating dues of $8,000, which is, I'm estimating conservatively, and the classes, I think both will be more than what we planned for, but those are conservative estimates. 1 year, when was it? Not last year, the year before last, if one more person had paid dues or had joined the club, we would have exceeded $10,000 in dues. 2 years ago, it was $99.80. But this past year, it did go down a little bit, so we lost some people. And again, people who used to be household didn't want to pay the extra money, so the dues went down a little bit. But and then we have to renew our file maker is what we use to keep track of the club database. So we have to pay that, and other than that, it's self-explanatory. Oh, the club computer. We determined that we did not need a new computer, so we're using the one that we bought, what, 4 years ago, I think. Yeah, it will be 4 years in March. So we're going to hang on to this. Well, that's George's, because a lot of times, like George uses his own, but the club one is used, and we will keep it until it will no longer upgrade to the latest operating system. But it's upgraded. Marty uses it. We have some presenters who mainly use iPad, and they need the club computer in order to project their iPad onto, like Mitch Bryers and Marty doesn't want to bring in his big iMac, so he uses the club computer. Any questions? I haven't run off with the money. I expect the same total income. I expect about the same income, or it's not really income, we're tax-free, but we expect $2,500 more income, inflow than outflow.
Brian, did you have a question?
Yeah, just, I can't see the budget up there, but what do we do other than word of mouth to attract people to the club?
That's primarily, there seems to be, I filled out something recently for the newspaper, and I'm not sure, but it appears that someplace, because we've had some members in the last couple of months, new members that have come through some announcement in the newspaper.
Because that was one of the things that kind of disturbed me when Jerry announced that he would be doing his article.
Well, he was willing to do it. They were not interested in receiving it.
I understood that.
Yeah, we,
The thing
Jeff,
was is that did we do anything to get in the paper so that?
Jeff, I think, has made contact with the paper, and I don't think he got any response.
They haven't been responsive so far, so I don't know if it's political or just.
Yeah, Jerry, we really don't think, based on the experience that Jerry had at the end, they just were not interested
Yeah, I understand.
in these type of articles, and that's really what boosted our membership.
They think it's a Republican organization.
The paper got sold twice in the last 3 years. And so there's been a lot of changeover. What they're trying to do with the newspaper is very different than what they were trying to do 4 years ago.
Right.
And basically, they thank me for submitting articles, but said don't bother.
Good people all left in the first buyout.
What?
And that's when Jeff Lytle left and Corbin Wyatt
Yeah.
and the previous sports guy. But anyway,
Okay, while we're talking about the budget a second, over the years, the club has spent a great deal of money in this room. In 2013, we were having major problems at the meetings with the Wi-Fi. The presenter, because of everybody in the room was on the Wi-Fi, the presenter was we were unable, or almost unable, to communicate with the outside world as far as streaming in these conferences. So now we have put in to the library our own router, and we paid for it.
we also paid for the Chet Small one, which was a former member.
Or
and he-
Chet Small's family paid for it. It was his,
The
it was
family
his will.
paid for it, so it was, so both of the routers, the Chet Small one is public, and George will tell you there's a separate one for instructors, so.
And I'm not 100% sure the library doesn't use that periodically for people making presentations. We also did a great deal of wiring. The library put in this projector and a couple years ago, and we're still having major problems with it. Like tonight I have, for some reason, the only way I could get a great picture was to hook up the VGA and the HDMI cable. So they're both hooked into the computer, and we're getting a much better picture than we normally would get, and we're also not getting the flickering. So we still continue to have problems, but we helped the library run wires from back there all the way over to here, had Dennis, the Giacomo get involved and so forth. And we really have to pursue that even further because we're having some major problems now. The other thing that we want to make sure we have fairly decent reserves for is we really do have a bargain at the library. And if, God forbid, something happens to the library or the Collier County through elections and so forth, there's a new management team in the Collier County, the rent could easily go up dramatically. I mean, we have one hell of a deal here, and we have a pretty good deal at the university. And the reason we're in these two places is there's nothing else out there that even comes close. And we live in that fear that at some point we might have to dip into our reserves to pay larger fees to both Hodges and the library. Okay, this chart right here, you will see back in 2014, we had 532 members. That's when Jerry first started, or back even further, I think it was in 2010, is when Jerry started the newspaper article, and we went from 292 members to 426. And then we grew to 532 in 2014, and in the last few years we've dropped back to 429. So we really want to do something about trying to recruit, and without spending a lot of bucks. And usually any organization of this type, the best way to recruit is through word of mouth. And if our members would aggressively get out there and encourage their friends, their neighbors, their relatives, whoever, to come, bring them to the meetings. Once we get them into a meeting, they join. Anybody that walks in this room, 99% of the time, will join the group. So once we get them in, we can get them to join. So I would encourage our membership to aggressively partake in that effort. Also, I have been posting a lot of notices, a lot of notices up on the bulletin boards of Panera. And I noticed that about every week I got to replace them. I'm not sure if they're throwing them away or people are taking them. And I'm assuming people are taking them because they're up there. When I put them up there, they stay up there until they seem to disappear. So any of you, we have cards on the back table. Take them to any of your, the supermarkets or any place you go, restaurants, any place you go where there's a bulletin board, community rooms, anywhere that you can throw up some of those cards could be helpful. Just try to constantly expose us to the community. I think we're one of the best kept secrets out there.
But don't do it in the Apple store.
What's that?
Don't do it in the Apple store.
Yeah, Marcia tries, but she does it outside now, she does.
How about other places where computers are being repaired?
Good idea.
And I just want to raise my hand. I'm a new Florida resident as of 2 years. I joined the club recently as of January. And I found this club through either Meetup or through the Naples News Club advertisement for the Apple class.
Through where? Where did you hear about us?
I think it was the Apple class you advertised. I'm not sure if I saw that through Meetup or through the Naples News Club calendar. But the groups I belong to, I have found through those two avenues.
What's Meetup?
Meetup, you're at.
Oh, Meetup.
Meetup, that's it, Meetup. Yeah.
Well, thank you. If anybody has any other ideas, we'd certainly like to entertain it. Yes?
There's a fair amount of traffic in and out of the library. I wonder if during a meeting session, welcome, join us, no charge.
Yeah, we kind of have...
Curious enough to come in.
Yeah, we kind of have a sign on the door that we just put on this year for the first time. But that, maybe, we should probably try to get into one of those larger sign holders possibly. But that's a good idea. And, we are a nice contributor to the Friends of the Library, so maybe we should ask them to try to help us continue to pursue. Okay. This is the card, basically, that's on the back table. One side is our logo, and then the other side gives all the information on the club. And you're certainly welcome to take as many as you would like, and if you can help us market the club, please do. The discussion group. Is this number correct, Jerry? We have 400 members that are part of the discussion group?
Yes.
All right, so the majority of our...
396.
396. So the majority of our membership is partaking in the discussion group. And if you're not, you should be partaking in the discussion group. It's a great opportunity to get lots of information. The board members, Jeff Bohr, myself, Marty, Jerry, some of our members continue to send out critical information to our members about what's going on in the Apple world, software development. Everything's available out there. I probably, myself, probably post, maybe 100 of the, or maybe 75 of the 200 to 250 that we have posted on a monthly basis. It's an opportunity to ask a question to the group and get an answer within a short period of time. If you're having a problem with your computer, you can't figure it out, you've tried to Google it, YouTubed it, you can certainly ask the group, and most likely you'll get a response. As you can see on this chart, we do have we have a lot of activity going on in the discussion group. And I know when I joined the group, the only reason I know the numbers, I got married and joined the group at the same time. So I've been married 15 years. I think I've been a member for about 14. And Jerry was here when I got here, so I think he's been president much longer than 14 years. But take advantage of this discussion group. The reason I mention that is I took advantage of the discussion group. I was a new Mac user. I had come from PC. The reason I switched is because I was doing a lot of video editing, and I just couldn't deal with the PC any longer. And by marrying my wife, I inherited a tech for a stepson, and he said, "George, you need to be on a Mac." And that's where it all started. And I, Googled any, Mac group, Naples, Florida, and that's how I found my way here. And my first 2 or 3 meetings, I sat in the back row because I had a Toshiba laptop. I hadn't even bought an Apple. And but I didn't know anything about Apple, and I wanted to learn. So this discussion group is just a great thing for the group, and I would encourage you to take advantage of it, encourage everybody else. As far as getting on the discussion group, you can get on through our website. And I would encourage everyone to go to naplesmug.com and take a look at that website. It's loaded with information. It's got a video of each and every meeting that has taken place in the last few years in this room. It's got just tons and tons of information. And Jeff Boer's meetings, Dennis DiGiacomo's meetings, they're all on there. Plus other information that is critical to learning the Mac.
George?
Yes.
And you do not have to log in. You do not have to log in.
You don't have to worry about logging in. Just go to the site.
So you don't need a Yahoo password?
No, to the discussion group you have to log in. To our site, you do not have to. But if you go to our site, up on the very top it says Naples Mug Discussion Group. If you click on there, it'll take you through the process of getting in and take you to Yahoo. And if you have any difficulty, bring it up at a meeting and we'll take you through the process. Yes?
My name's Mike Schleider. I'm here because Bob Kennedy suggested that I come. He and I are both in the photography club. And interesting thing that I noticed, and I'm sure Bob has seen the same thing, is that when I first joined the photography club 3 years ago and started going to some of the classes, 1/3 of the people had Macs and 2/3 had PCs. Now it's flipped the other way. And I would venture to say, Bob, that most of the people other than me are not here in this club. Is that right?
Pardon me?
In this club, I don't know any other photographers.
Oh, yeah, we have several who joined during last year.
Well, what I was thinking is there's a big March expo that our photo club is sponsoring. early March, and maybe if there's some way to get that promoted at the club, that would be good. I don't know if we need money.
It's a Florida-wide, statewide, well, actually open to anybody, but it's organized statewide by the Club of Clubs of Florida, and it has several hundred visitors. So it would be, and it would probably be more successful if we accepted members outside of the Naples residency.
We have several members who have never been in Naples. They have joined remotely and they get enough benefit from the discussion group and from the videos that George makes, that they don't bother to come here. They really are internet members.
That's a good idea.
That's basically my intent.
Yeah, Bob, if you can follow up on that.
I'll help you with that if you want.
Okay, great.
Yes, Don?
Bob is bashful. He did not mention today or the other day, his club, Dippy Sig, has a wonderful exhibit at the other end of the library, at the west entrance hallway, including some great pictures by Bob. If you have time on the way out.
Yeah, take a look at that. Bob is not 100% feeling well tonight, so he's wrapped up with his sweatshirt here, sitting in the front row. He came in to take a picture and tried to make it. He's come down. You said you're one of the only people that got the flu shot that got the flu.
And you're here. The season is really.
Anyway, also, we had a relationship with lynda.com. Lynda.com was a tutorial service. They had thousands and thousands of tutorials. Fairly weak in the area of the Mac, but they tried a few years ago to increase their coverage on the software and the hardware because of they wanted to keep our business. They were taken over by LinkedIn, and then LinkedIn was bought by Microsoft, and they're no longer interested in the type of relationship that we had, where we could assign on a weekly basis 5 of our members and rotated on a weekly basis. They wanted us to pick 10 members for the year, and we were already frustrated that with a membership of 430 to 530, that we only had about 35 to 40 members taking advantage of it, and we were paying $1,700 a year for it, and so a lot of our members that were not utilizing it were paying for the few that were. And so we chose, I mean, they pretty much told us they weren't interested unless we were to narrow it down to 10 users a year. And that was a ridiculous request. And they really do not want, I would assume also because it's owned by Microsoft and we're an Apple group, that they didn't have a lot of enthusiasm for our business anymore. We have had a relationship and with NoteBoom tutorials. NoteBoom does fabulous tutorials for the Mac. He does do some Microsoft Office, Word, Keynote, or the other, not Keynote, but PowerPoint. But he has every possible Mac tutorial for the iPad, the iPhone, the Apple Watch, and the Mac computer. You can join. They've given us a membership fee on an annual basis of $14.99. It's a great deal. If you go and search out NoteBoom, it's anywhere from $30 to $40 normally. You can download the tutorials and keep them, put them on your iPad or watch them at your convenience. So it's a great opportunity. And And he really communicates in a way that most everybody finds it very easy to understand. Okay, now can we have a update from Marty on IP? IT. Oh, by the way, as Marty's crawling up here, I wanted to mention, every one of our board members has enough to do to keep them busy 40, 50 hours a week. And we need member support. So if any of you would like to help us out, please see any one of us and volunteer, and we'll find you something to do. I mean, we're overwhelmed in managing this club with the amount of work that it takes. And Marty's helped us in a lot of areas to try to streamline a lot of things, but there's still a ton of work, and we need everybody's help. Go ahead.
Just remember, my term's up next January.
The only way you can...
First line, George.
Jerry's been, how long have you, 20-something years, I think, in total.
Yeah, but mine are dog years.
We'll give you a new contract right now. 10 years.
And we'll raise your pay.
Okay, just quickly, I just want to cover a couple of things. I covered these last year. We have some new members. We've moved all of our emails to Google. So when you write to us at naplesmug.com, it's really a Google email. So we're now keeping track of all of our emails, and it's very, very orderly, like Google usually does. So each of us has an email that matches our positions. So if you want to write to George, you don't have to remember which of the 32 emails that he uses. Just write to president at naplesmug.com. Same thing for the rest of us, and they're all listed there. Our document storage is now all on Google Drive, so anything that we do as a club is preserved. We are a 501c3 corporation. That means we're tax exempt by the IRS rules, but we have to do these meetings, for example, and keep track of our records the way we're supposed to do it according to the IRS. So that documentation is important. All of our web hosting is at IX Web Hosting, which is a very good host. They're cheap. They're 24/7 support. It actually comes from the Ukraine, so they're all engineers. They know what you're talking about when you call them. They give you the answer. They help you. That was Jeff's recommendation, and it's worked out very well for us. And the membership database we mentioned earlier is on FileMaker Pro. So we actually have a single database now that all of us can access when we need to have access to our membership records.
If anybody has any FileMaker Pro experience,
Yeah.
we need you. We need to talk to you.
And I should say, each of these jobs, by the way, is compartmentalized. So if somebody's interested in helping on a particular subject, we can define a project that's not overwhelming and that would fit with your time schedules and stuff. But right now, this is all done by one guy, free. So we want some other free people to help us.
And you can do it from home.
You can do it from anywhere. We moved all the web servers during Thanksgiving a year ago. So we integrated Google Calendar. I hope everybody's using the Google Calendar. All the membership stuff that's, when our meetings are, what the subjects are all posted on the Google Calendar. You go to our website, go to Calendar, and you see it. You can download it to your own calendar, and it's integrated. We have web pages now for membership joining, renewing gift of membership, and making donations. So that's all very easy to do online. It uses PayPal or a credit card using the PayPal portal. So you don't need a PayPal account. If you wanted to just use a credit card, you could do that. And lastly, we put up all the class registration. Class registration is going to change, by the way, a little bit. I think the new one that will come out will be a little bit more coherent than what we're doing now, a little easier to manage. And then we have forums listed for all major topic areas. And one of the things about our website is I can tell when people sign on, if they have trouble signing on, and what information they go access. So if you're on the website and you have trouble with something, shoot me a little email and say, I didn't know how to do this, or I couldn't find it, and I can help you get that answer, right? And the forums are by topic area. I try to keep up with that, but it's a huge job. When George posts a video, it would be nice to be able to put it into a forum and then have it go to social media and a variety of places so people could access it. And again, that's just resource limitations. Last slide. And lastly, SurveyMonkey, we talked about MailChimp for our emails, and Yahoo, George has already covered. We do have a YouTube website, which is the Naples Mug website. You can subscribe to that, and if whenever a new video gets posted, it will send you an email that says, oh, we just have a new video posted on YouTube. And those YouTube videos are public, so you can see them, and any other people who are interested in the subject can see them. And the nice thing about YouTube, of course, which we'll learn on Monday at the Knowledge Explosion class, is that's a searchable website. So if you're looking for how do I find out how to do XYZ on a website or on Naples Mug or whatever, you can go search it in YouTube and find the answer. And usually you get a good video demonstration of what the content is. So it's a very good resource. Any questions about web international stuff, Tom?
Are SurveyMonkey and MailChimp the same company?
No. I'll answer it. I don't know. I just use them. SurveyMonkey was for our website, was for our voting that we did, and MailChimp is for the blast. It's just a question of you can use Constant Contact. A lot of people use Constant Contact. We use MailChimp because it's cheaper, but either one works. Other questions? All right, thank you.
Okay, Edgar, will you talk about the classes, please?
Well, I think we have covered the subject already to a certain extent today. Just one comment on Peacock's presentation. When he ranked the classes in some mirrorless way, like income, I want you to understand that some classes consist of 2 sessions, or have in the past. And if you have a fairly high income, those were the classes that had 2 sessions. And there were classes that had only 1 session, and they, some of them had actually had an income that was more than half of the top ranking class. So I just wanted to make sure we don't give credit or merit to a particular class. That to me was had to be explained by me that it was misleading, in my opinion, to that ranking. I believe our classes should not really be ranked in that way, in that fashion. To me, our class program of this institution is an extremely important asset. It offers great value. And all of our members have their own specific reason why they belong to this club. And unfortunately, only 1/3 of our members believe that in our class program and attend it. There are 2/3 who do not attend, and that's unfortunate. And for example, our first class next Monday, the subject is knowledge explosion. The instructor is Marty. So far we have just about 40 members who have signed up. We would like to attract at least 50 members, even more. And the subject is very intriguing. Knowledge explosion. When I grew up, there was a slogan, knowledge is power. And I think that's probably still true today. But we also have to understand that different from the generations before us, access to power has really changed dramatically. In the past, you had to learn to achieve knowledge. You had to memorize it. Today, you don't have to memorize knowledge. In fact, you don't have to possess knowledge. But you have to know access to knowledge, instant access to knowledge. And if you have that, then you have knowledge, and then you're powerful. And Marty, in his lecture next Monday, will address that very subject, how without knowledge in and of itself, you can immediately access knowledge and possess it. You don't have to possess it forever as long as you know how to readdress, we could find that access point and go back to it. We were also talking today, and I think we will continue to be talking, about the lack of adequate membership. We should have more members. And we are dwindling down for reasons that George explained. We have changed our policy as far as classes are concerned in that we now allow non-members. And we are still playing with that. And so far we have not yet a non-member that has registered for the class. I would like to encourage you, and particularly those attending the very first class, to think about that. And maybe they have friends and neighbors who would be interested in the very subject of knowledge explosion, how to find instant access to knowledge and bring them along. It's a $24 charge. Most lectures, if you want to attend them here in Naples, they charge $30 and more. So I think it's a great deal. And I would like you to think about it. And maybe you can increase our attendance for that very first class. And I'm sure that if you bring non-members, they will be so impressed by what this institution has to offer that they will become members very quickly. And I think I can really stop here. I can tell you that I enjoy being in this capacity at this institution. I really enjoy it. I'm trying to automate the process of registering. I get your emails, I have to capture them. I want to do as little manual work as possible, and that's an intriguing challenge, which I enjoy. One personal comment, in a way it's sad that you no longer pay with checks. The reason is I have a very good facial memory, but I don't remember names very well. And when people showed up at our classes and they had their checks in their hand, I could quickly take a glimpse and I could see the name and I could address the person by his or her first name. Now you pay in advance and you will show up, you will need name badges that I have to give to you. And I know who you are, but I don't know your name. So that's going to be a problem for me. But thank you.
Thank you, thank you. When you talk about knowledge explosion, my wife has learned about that in the last, since I got married to her, because she's right all the time, but now she can show me. Just, here, look at it on the phone. So,
You didn't let her attend your classes?
what's that?
You didn't let her sign up for the class?
I haven't yet, but, I'm sure she'd jump at the idea. Anyway, Jeff, would you talk about what we're doing in the area of social media?
Okay. So as you may be involved with social media now, but the latest totals that I could find, as of September 2017, just a few months ago, 81% of Americans have a social media account. So this means 8 out of 10 people use social media. A lot of people are intimidated by social media. They say, oh, I don't want to get involved with Facebook. I've got a lot of clients that say, hey, get me onto Facebook. I want to watch my grandkids. And then 3 months later, they said, I just saw some spring break pictures that I don't ever want to see again. Can you get me off of Facebook? So with any kind of social media, you can use it you can be an observer or you can be a participant. So if you just want to get on social media, sign up for an account and watch, you can. That might be the easiest entry for people. But with this immersion rate of the social media outlets, which the biggest one is Facebook. I think 4 billion people are involved with that. But the percentage of the population in the past 10 years, you can see how it's increased from 24% in 2008 of people using social media up to 8 out of 10 last year. So this is a form of communication that we can't really ignore if we want to increase the scope of awareness for this group, which is very beneficial. And what I tell people is, like Jerry said, there's people that have signed up, they pay their dues, never been to a meeting, they don't even live in Naples, and you can get a great benefit even if you just look at the website and follow the discussion group. So on the next slide, these are the most popular social media networks in the world. Facebook and YouTube are the top 2. WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, WeChat, Q, Instagram, Qzone, Tumblr, Twitter. Twitter's like the number 10 social media network by worldwide numbers. So we do have a presence on both Facebook and YouTube. On YouTube, of course, is a video social media network where thousands of hours of media are uploaded every minute. So YouTube is instructional videos, it's videos of our meetings, videos of guest speakers that we have are posted on YouTube. So we only have, as of last night, 38 subscribers, or maybe 39 to our YouTube account. So our Facebook account only has 96 followers. So if statistics are correct, 8 out of 10 of you are on Facebook. So go and start following the Naples Mug page. On the next slide, our Facebook account as of last evening had 98 followers. If you go to Facebook and you want to search and join the group there, which then means that if you do make a post, or if you like a post that the group has made on Facebook, then all your friends will see it. So that will also spread awareness. The same thing for YouTube. So on Facebook, if you search for Naples Mac Friends User Group, or NMUG, or Naples Mug, you'll be able to like the page and follow the page. On YouTube, if you search for Naples Mac User Group, or Naples MUG, or NMUG, you'll find it on YouTube. So those are kind of what you'll see on these different sites when you go to Facebook and YouTube. And these are the two sites that we're actively participating in. So once you're associated with one of these pages, you can comment, you can view, you could interact via the website. So just remember that all of your family and friends are probably using social media, so if you haven't signed up, this might be a good way to get your feet wet. Just create an account with Facebook or YouTube. Facebook, you can sign up with your email, and my advice would be give them as little information as you can get away with, because if you start putting in, they'll ask you all these questions, Facebook, about what elementary school did you go to, where did you work, what high school did you go to. Just leave those blank, because if you fill those in, by default, people that you went to elementary school with will be aware that you're on Facebook when you join, and then you'll start getting all these requests from people that you haven't seen in 70 years and you don't care. So just sign up with the minimum information that you can get away with. With YouTube, I think you have to have a Gmail account now. Does anybody know if that's wrong? But I think since Google bought YouTube, I think you must have a Gmail account or create a Gmail account to join the YouTube page. But simply based on the numbers, we can't continue to ignore social media, but we need to kind of embrace it. So when you get a chance, sign up for YouTube and Google and like our account, and then hopefully these numbers will go up, and then that'll spread awareness. Yes, sir?
I'm kind of dumb to this, but on the emails that get sent to us, like for meeting notices and all of that, all of the logos are on the bottom for the social media, but they don't link directly, from what I can tell, link directly to the actual sites that you're talking about. So like...
That might be something we could adjust in MailChimp then to...
Yeah, I think there's a lost opportunity here, because it should automatically, like if I want to join one of our social media groups, all I have to do is touch that and it takes me right to it. Because I have accounts on all of them, but yet it doesn't open up in my accounts. So something is wrong the way it's set up.
Yeah, it's just a matter of adding links to those logos.
Exactly.
So that would be something I would imagine we could adjust.
Yeah, none of us have to know anything, we can just touch the link.
Right, if you click on the link, it'll take you to Facebook or YouTube.
Right.
Good idea. So don't ignore social media, but participate for the group's well-being.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Marilyn, you want to talk a little bit about what a member advocate?
Good question. One of the things that we have discussed for the coming year is some of the issues that we have, since our group is so diverse in terms of where people are in their experience with computers and iOS devices. Some people are at the very beginning level, some people are at the very advanced level, and we want to make an effort. I know Jerry over the years has tried to address those in our meetings, or question and answer. We try to address those with our classes, but we could probably maybe do a better job of that. So we decided to establish the position of member advocate, and I came up with a brief description which I'll read to you. It's only a few sentences. The member advocate will interact with individuals who are new to meetings to assess their interests. And when somebody comes for the first time, they introduce themselves, and George says, how do you find out about us? And we'd like to have something to hand to them or to personally speak to them before they leave the meeting, to find out why they're here, what they're interested in, and that sort of thing. The other part of it is to listen to members and other attendees about programming concerns. If you would like to see us do something special at meetings, or bring in certain speakers, or have ideas about how we can improve our presentations, our classes, our meetings, I would be the person that you could talk to. And I would refer back to the board any responses. Now, I don't want you nagging me and complaining all the time. But at least you would know that somebody is willing to listen to you, and maybe you can give us some really good ideas. And the other piece would be to suggest the resources and strategies to people who have concerns. Sometimes they don't know about where to go to help themselves, if they want to get a tutor, or they want to look something up on the internet, or how to get a notebook, or what, all those things that we can do to help people. So that's basically what the job is. And it's to try to communicate better with the members and with the potential members, and be responsive in a professional and caring way. I just came up, this is just a draft of something that could be handed out to somebody who's come to our meeting for the first time. The first part of it talks about, hi, we're glad you're here, this is what we're about, well, go to our website. The second part is, please email me and tell me what you're interested in, what subjects you'd like to learn about, what kind of devices that you have. And then the third piece is just about where our meetings are. And then the fourth piece is in case people feel they want to pay for tutors. We do have 4 people, and there might even be more. So if you are a tutor, let me know and we'll add you to the list. I'd like to make a better flyer out of this, but this is just our first draft, so that people, when they leave, know what to do next, or can think about how to continue to work with us. Any questions? Okay.
Thank you, Marilyn.
I'll say a few words.
Yeah, Bob? Bob is going to
We were
talk
just
about...
only a couple of days ago, and I had no voice, but we talked about it a lot. So all I would like to say is, please come to me with 2 things. One, any ideas, what to do, any contacts that you recommend, and particularly, I also would like to have the occasion when you come to me and say, I would be willing to make that contact. So if you have that contact, or volunteer to help me in general. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Any additional questions? We have a meeting on Wednesday. It's the iOS meeting. Mitch Briers for the iPad, iPhone. Great meeting. Please attend. And thank you very much, and have a good evening.